Hi, in this session, we'll continue with a few more insights into weighted average and we'll solve a few questions. Let's start with a question. A fruit seller sells apples and mangoes. He sells apples at a profit percentage of 50%, whereas mangoes are sold at a profit percent of 80%. Further, it is given that the cost price of apples is rupees 120 per kg, whereas that of mangoes is rupees 300 per kg. If at the end of the day he has sold 15 kgs of apples and he has sold 25 kgs of mangoes, find his overall profit percentage. Pause the video, try the question and then continue. I hope you have given it a good try. If I proceed exactly as I did yesterday, so I want to find the average of the apples and mangoes put together. Let's call average profit percentage AR, which is nothing but 50%. Yesterday we saw if profit percentage is my A1 and A2, my weights is going to be cost price. So this is straight from yesterday, and since the weights are this, the numerator is the profit amount, so the denominator has to be the total cost amount. If I do this way, the problem with this is 120 plus, let me just write it down first, 80% of 300 over 120 plus 300. The problem here is this is a profit per kg. Right? And this also is the cost per kg. So what inadvertently we have done here is we have found the profit percentage, average profit percentage, if equal kgs of apples and mangoes are sold. Primarily 1 kg of apple and 1 kg of mango is sold. Here I would like you to draw the distinction that cost price refers to per unit, that is per kg out over here. So while this is a value, this is not the answer to our question because the quantities are different. So what else error I could have done? So since there are quantities also involved here, one might end up thinking, let me convert this to a profit. Could I say I am making a profit in rupees? A profit, now I am talking about in rupees of 60 per kg, right, for mangoes. So this is profit 1, this for mangoes. And what is the profit that I am making in rupees? That is the amount of profit on mangoes. I am making 80% of 300, that is 240 per kg. And so I bet some students might come down to the format of 60 per kg. How much kgs am I making? 15 kgs. So this is my profit of apples, profit made on apples. Oh, so this seems okay. And the profit made on mangoes is 240 per kg. So I am selling 25 kgs. Now it seems that the weights are 15 and 25, and quite a few of us are going to end up doing this. What we are doing here is, while the numerator is the profit amount, the denominator is the number of kgs sold. Now this does not end up giving you the average profit. Average profit has to be found by the profit divided by the cost something, not the number of kgs. So this has no meaning. So this question is again emphasizing, do not blindly apply the weighted average formula. Please think about it, what are the numerators and what are the denominators, right? So what is the correct answer out over here? You can continue with this, but one way is, here the profit 50% is not of the cost price, it is 50% of the total cost. Whatever is the fruit seller's cost invested, amount invested in apples, he will make 50% of that amount. So I am converting the cost price and kgs into the cost. So the total cost incurred on apples is 120 into 15, that is 15 12 is 180 rupees 1800. The cost incurred on mangoes 300 into 25 7500 rupees. And now I could say that I am making 50% of the total cost. 50% of the total cost. This is the profit which last time we had found this. This is going to be 900. 60 into 15, 900. So the numerator was okay last time, right? And I am going to make 80% of the total cost incurred on mangoes, that is 80% of 7500 divided by the total cost, and the total cost is 1800 plus 7500. Hope you got this. So this is 900 on the profit on apples. 80% is 4/5, 1/5 of it is 15, 15 fours are 60. So 6000 is the profit made on mangoes, and the total cost that the fruit seller must have invested at the beginning would have been 75, and this, that is 99,300. So now all is left is just to change this to a percentage. So the total profit is 6,900 over 9,300. To change it to a percentage, I'll multiply it by 100. So which is 23 by 31 into 100. We typically don't get the 100 into picture. When I simplify, 31 sevens will give me 217, left over 130, 31 fours are. So approximately 74% is the overall profit. Hope you have got this. Another question. The question states, a person sells 1/3 of the goods that he has at a profit of 20%, 1/3 of the remaining at a loss of 10%. At what percentage should he sell the leftover so that he makes an overall gain of 10%? So there are three groups now. And it isn't, I don't think so it's too great a thing to extend that formula for three groups. So I would have one group with a weight of 1, A1, W1, another group A2, W2. Now in comes a third group, so that will have its own average, A3. A weight will be assigned to it, weight 3, divided by the sum of weights. In fact, this formula can be extended for any number of groups. So this should be pretty easy to understand, right? This question is, part of this question has to do with how do you interpret the data. 1/3 of the remaining. The three parts are not 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. If you read it carefully, he says first part is 1/3, the second part is 1/3 of the remaining. And I see a lot of beginners struggling with this fraction of the remaining part. So let me just take it a little slowly out over here. How can you do it seamlessly without any errors and a little faster? So let's start with, let's say sold and leftovers. Since it's in fraction, let me start with 1. 1 refers to the entire goods that he has. Now how much does he sell? He sells 1/3 of 1, which is straight 1/3. What is going to be left over? Left over is going to be 2/3 of 1, which is 2/3. This can be directly 1/3, the left over is 2/3. In the second lot, he sells 1/3 of the remaining. So 1/3 of 2/3, which is nothing but 2/9. And the beauty of this approach is the leftover can always be found. If 1/3 has been sold, 2/3 will remain. 2/3 of 2/3. So 2/3 of 2/3 is 4/9, and all the rest is sold out over here. So the third lot is going to be 4/9. Hope you got this. If you want, you could rerun this part out over here. So I'll erase this leftovers. We are not interested in leftovers. So I've got the fraction of the goods that he is selling. Another way to think about it could have been, and a better way could have been, I can have a foresight that in the second part I'll be doing 1/3 of 2/3. So in the second lot, there are two denominators of 3 each. So I could have started with 9. So let's say I start with 9. 9 being the worth of goods, or he has goods worth 9. So the first part is 1/3, which is pretty easy, 3. The second part is 1/3 of the remaining. What will be remaining? 6. What is 1/3 of 6? That is 2. And the leftover. 5 have been sold out of 9, so the leftover is 4. So I could have even done it without fractions in this way. I just need to understand how do I come to a number which will avoid fractions. Once we have deciphered this, then the question is pretty easy. Now the first part has uh, a profit of 20%. So I'm going ahead with 20% profit with a weight of 3. The goods that he has sold at 20% is worth 3. The goods that he has sold at a loss of 10%. So that's a minus 10 is 2. So 10% of its worth, that is 2. The third part is not known to us. At what profit does he sell? There's a percentage sign and the weight attached with it is that of 4. The total worth of goods is 3 plus 2 plus 4, that is 9, which we already know, and it is given to me that this is 10%. I need an overall profit of 10%. We just need to solve this and we'll get a value of x. While solving this, please do not write 20 by 100 and change it to fractions again. Remember, there's a percentage sign in all the terms, even on the right hand side and left hand side. So you could just ignore the percentage sign. It's just a divide by 100 is coming in on both sides, so just ignore it. So this 20 into 3, that is 60, minus 20 plus 4x is equal to this 9 into 10 will become a 90. So my 4x is nothing but 40, that will be a 50, so x is 12.5 and all the values are in percentage. So at what profit should he sell the rest of it, which is 12.5% profit. Hope you get this part, right? If I would have worked in this question on fractions, it would look as 20%. We have seen here that the percent sign will appear in all the terms. I am just ignoring it. 20 into 1 by 3. The plus is going to become a minus here because there's a minus 10% into 2 by 9 plus x into 4 by 9 over the sum of weights. The sum of weights here is going to be 1 by 3 plus 2 by 9 plus 4 by 9. But however, as we were doing the fractions, we had started with the number 1. So we know that the sum of weights here is 1. So quite often in some books or so on, you'll see this as the weighted average format. This is equal to 10. Everything is same. This is nothing different from that. It's identical. If you just separate this out, 3 divided by 9 is 1 by 3. 2 divided by 9 is 2 nines and 4 divided by 9 is 4 nines. So please don't look at this question and say where has the denominator vanished, or else if I want to write it in a formula way, the same formula I could have written as A1 weight 1 over sum of weights 1, 2, 3 sum, sorry, plus A2 into the fractional weight 2 over sum of weights plus A3 into weight 3 over the sum of weights, right? So occasionally some textbooks or some engineers, those who have studied it earlier in a different way, would be more accustomed to this way, this formula. So if you see this format of weighted average, where there is no denominator, you can safely guess or you can check that the sum of weights is going to be 1. Before we do away with this question, if you are accustomed to changing profit percentages into multiplying fractions, that is, if you are in the habit of doing that, could you, instead of 20% profit, could I also use a 6 by 5? Let's check it up. So 6 by 5 with a weight of 3. Remember, 10% loss in multiplying fractions is 9 by 10, but this time it will remain a plus. The fact that it's a loss has been accounted in the multiplying fraction. Hope you get that. Plus 2. plus I do not know x, as I'll write it this time as a fraction just to remind me that I'm working on multiplying fractions, into 4 divided by the sum of weights, that is 9. I've done it. And this, remember, be consistent. You cannot put a 10% here. This will be wrong. If you are working with multiplying fractions, throughout you have to have a multiplying fraction. So here the multiplying fraction related to 10% profit will be 11 by 10. Right? Let's solve it. I'm just taking this 9 out on the numerator so as to make my calculations easier. So I see this 9 will go out over here and I would be getting a 99. Now there's a 10 in the denominator. I'm multiplying throughout by 10. So this will leave a 2. 6 3s are 18, 2s are 36. Plus 10 will cancel out. I'll be left with 18. 10 times 40f is equal to 99. So 40f is equal to 36 plus 18 is 54. Minus 54 is going to give me a 45. So the fraction is 45 by 40, which is 9 by 8. And this is a fraction corresponding to a percentage change. What is the percentage change? It is same as 12.5. So could I work with either the profit percentages or the multiplying fraction related to profit percent? Do whatever you want, just be consistent all across.